welcome everyone. I am your host, Stefan Burns. Today, reporting on another sonic boom that has hit the eastern United States, making this the second sonic boom in 3 days. We had one that hit on the 28th of May, so not that long ago, at 21:24 Universal Time. That would be 5:24 p.m. local time there. That was right over Colombia. And when I reported on this to the live stream, pretty soon after it occurred on that day, there were 1,500 eyewitness, just reports of this. No one actually saw this thing, but they felt this sonic boom. Not an earthquake. There was no ground shaking, just a big blast of compressional energy in the air. That was on the 28th. Today we've had another one, this time just north of Boston here at 18:05 Universal Time. That'd be 2:05 p.m. local time. This one has evidence for it. And there are a variety of things that we can look at, which we're going to do in this video. For example, we have our American Meteor Society reports for this event. There's also satellite imagery that we have. We did this last time too. We looked at our satellite lightning flash density map, basically for the event that occurred over South Carolina and was picked up across most of the nearby states, by the way. So this was a big thing. We did not detect any flash of plasma in the atmosphere as a result of, a bolide coming in, exploding, something like that. We didn't pick it up. Well, for this Boston event, we do have a flash here. We can give it a look. Though this does not confirm it is a bolide, there is some, maybe it is. There's some video showing something coming in from a dash cam. It's kind of a trust me bro source. The Twitter account that posts this dash cam video has been known to post a bunch of nonsense on Twitter. So we'll look at it all with an open mind, but just keep this in mind that nothing has been officially verified, though some groups may be saying, oh, it's all said and done and good. So we're looking at this. This is at 18:05 Universal Time. So we see our time at the bottom of this graphic right here. I saw it pop up earlier. Oh, there it is. Okay. So it's queued up. It's 18:06. And then we see at 18:11, we get this flash there. So this is showing us lightning strikes. There's been a lot of cloud cover over Massachusetts, this part of the eastern US, New England, when this occurred, which would definitely make it difficult to get a visual on a fireball bolide meteor coming in, right? NASA has said that it exploded at about 40 miles up with a force of 300 tons of TNT. So we'll look at that tweet that they put out. Should be right here. NASA space alerts, meteor sighting. Eyewitnesses in New York and NOAA's GOES-19 satellite reported a bright fireball on Saturday, May 30th at 2:06 p.m. Eastern Time, accompanied by a loud noise. This is not an earthquake. The USGS has come out saying it's not an earthquake, but they have created an event page for it. The meteor appears to have fragmented at an altitude of 40 miles over northeast Massachusetts and southeast New Hampshire. The energy released at breakup is estimated to be equivalent to about 300 tons of TNT, which accounts for the loud noise. Okay. Eyewitness accounts supplied by the American Meteor Society. We go here. These are all the accounts that have come in. We'll refresh this. Something important, more of them have come in. Okay. Something important to note about this event in Boston is that we didn't get any eyewitness reports for the event in South Carolina. So that's the big difference. And that one was felt over a huge area. We'll look at the specific do you feel it maps in a second. We're going to go through everything in this video. If you're new here, I'm your host, Stefan Burns, geologist, geophysicist, space weather guy. We've been tracking these sort of things for a long time now on the channel. Hello and welcome if you are new. For example, back in May, there was a surge of big meteorite sightings. So if you have a space rock fly into the atmosphere and it gets bright enough to be seen during the daytime, that's known as a fireball. So that's the technical term. So there was a bunch of big fireball sightings that occurred in March, and actually some of them impacted the ground and fragments were recovered. Interesting, and sonic booms and everything were heard with some of them, specifically Ohio, Texas, but it didn't, the characteristics of that and what's happening now are different. This may be not exactly space rocks flying in. It could be. And if that is the case, it's actually, it's probably the most likely scenario that these are two separate bolide impacts. So the South Carolina one, again, very anomalous, unusual. We didn't get any eyewitness sightings from it, no Nest cameras, nothing, okay? But just in terms of logic, it probably is most likely two bolide impacts. The fact that we had two bolide impacts back to back, and we had this big wave in March that bled into April, it's now May, it's not June yet, it's still May. This isn't a good sign. It could be a sign that there are larger space rocks coming in. Because the way debris streams work is that you can have an orbit that contains a lot of meteorite debris. And there are going to be parts of that orbit that are actually occupied by the main body. Because you have to sort of think of large space rocks aren't necessarily one contiguous unit. There can be one big chunk in there, let's say 2 kilometers across. That'd be big, but let's just use that as an example. There can be one main parent body that is accreting all the other bits of space rock in the orbit, and there can be density distributions that are different throughout that orbit. So of course, where that main 2-kilometer diameter space rock, that asteroid is, would be the highest density distribution in that orbit, but there can be other sections where there's higher density and then lower density, etc. We see this, for example, with the Taurid meteor stream. These jet streams exist all throughout space. Sometimes Earth's orbit intersects with these jet streams, and they can change and alter. So this is odd. If from the space rock angle, we could be, if that is the case, we could be at the kind of the beginning of maybe a wave to something bigger. We hope not. I don't think it's the most likely outcome in terms of, I don't think it's an 80% chance or something. I think that's still a very low probability. But that's probably the most likely explanation for what's occurring here, even for South Carolina too. The other possibility is that we're seeing some sort of plasma explosion events occur within our atmosphere. Keep in mind, I'm going to keep this part very brief. Keep in mind that what is happening right now with the planet in terms of the warming has never been seen in the geologic record at this rate. There have been other times when the Earth has warmed up and been hotter, whatever. You can, for example, research into the PETM. This is about 55 million years ago. The Earth got quite warm. It was actually very similar to what happened now, but the rate of warming now is so much faster. That's tons more energy in the atmosphere, a lot more water, more lightning strikes, more plasma, okay? So I'm open-minded to the idea that we could just have a sudden electrical plasma discharge that explodes with enough force to create a sonic boom. And there wouldn't be any evidence, therefore, of some sort of bolide or meteor or fireball, no space rock, because there never was one. So that is an idea. We'll explore more later in the video. But here we see our eyewitness sightings for this. If you take the trajectories that are plotted, it goes right over where the USGS has the epicenter for this. Let's look at this specifically. Here we have our magnitude unknown, because it's not an earthquake, sonic boom for eastern Massachusetts. Again, this occurred at 2:05 p.m. And just again, before I move on, we got this slider queued up here. That right there is that explosion of energy. You see that we have a continuous line of thunderstorms here, lightning strikes. This just comes out of nowhere. This is what we do see when a meteor of sufficient size explodes in the atmosphere. So it's not like we've never seen this before. We've seen this before. This is the case right now, and we are seeing that. So that's why it's most likely to be a space rock, but we do have limited evidence of it being a space rock, and it very well could be, well, something else, like this plasma explosion. This would create a similar effect, right? Because the lightning strike is plasma, and this view here is tracking the light produced from a lightning strike or plasma. So that's a possibility. We don't know what's going to happen with the Earth as Earth electrification and warming continues. And more important than the warming aspect is the fact that everything's just becoming more volatile. So having big swings in temperature with the weather, right? Extreme cold, extreme heat, records smashed in both directions. More volatility, more unusual events like this. Now we can look at our Trust Me Bro source for this, okay? So here we see this dash cam footage. I mean, the resolution is atrocious. It looks almost like it could be fake. I don't know. And this guy's posted stuff before that's like questionable, but we're happy he has this video now. But again, Trust Me Bro source. You'll see very faintly something come in right there. See that? Perhaps that's it. But I don't know. And it's odd that the camera is shaking here. Watch this. The camera is shaking and you don't actually see that thing moving that much. It almost looks like it could have been edited. I don't know. I'm just showing this to you, okay? But see how it like stays in position even though like everything else is shaking? It's weird. So I have no idea about the veracity of the source, but maybe we have some evidence of it from this dash cam that looks like it's a potato can from the year 2000. Now, my radar weather did post here that they detected a line of simultaneous infrared emissions, which plots as lightning at the time that we saw this event, which would indicate that that is the trajectory of this meteor. So probably that's what it is. I'm not 100% going to tell you that is what it is, because I don't know. A lot of people, the moment they get some data, like to rush right to the conclusion. That's fine. It's probably that. It doesn't have to be that, because we had this other sonic boom that hit South Carolina. But before we get to that, let's look at this Did You Feel It here, okay? We can see the map for this, and we see that it's across New Hampshire, Massachusetts, even one there showing up, and we'll go to a different map that looks at this a little bit more closely. But here's our responses across time. So as of right now, 7 hours after this occurred, we are at 367 responses. About 400 responses, let's say, just to keep it very simple. And people have rated at different intensities here. So you can see that they rated the sonic boom as a 5, as a 4. You could go through this list if you want. But if you look here, this 4 is just light shaking. This is the earthquake scale, but in general, you know, a big sonic boom shakes the house, whatever. 4 is a light, 5 is moderate. So this is pretty notable. NASA, again, saying it's 300 tons of TNT explosion equivalent. You know, how close to accurate that is, I really don't know. But they're probably not super far off. You know, they've done a lot of analysis for things like this in the past. But let's go here specifically and turn on our 1 kilometer responses. Well, actually, start with our 10 kilometer so we can see the extent of it, okay? So here we see our 10 kilometer responses, and you're going all the way up into Maine, southern part of Maine with these, and down to, well, this is Long Island, right? Yeah. So this was, this was felt over a wide region. This is not a did you see it database with USGS. It's did you feel it? So people felt this over a very wide area. That's a big event. That's a big event. If a magnitude of 4 earthquake struck here, you're probably not getting people to feel it on Long Island. Maybe with a magnitude 5, certainly with a magnitude 6. And it's very sedimentary. Actually, you know, maybe it's a little different. There's a lot of shale rock out here, some sedimentary stuff too, but seismic waves, propagation on the East Coast is a little odd. But with a magnitude 4, which is what typically would hit the East Coast if there is an earthquake, magnitude 5s, I mean, the record's going to be almost nothing. Very, very infrequent. So this is quite a lot of energy, right? Propagating through the atmosphere, hitting people hundreds, keep in mind, hundreds of miles away. So we go back to our latest earthquakes map. Let's check out South Carolina as we did yesterday. Here it is. We did have 2 earthquakes that struck the next day. Some people making a big hubbub about this. Honestly, a magnitude 1.9, a magnitude 1.8, nothing to really consider. They strike South Carolina all the time. They really do. If you look at our U.S. hazard, you see that there's actually quite a bit of seismicity in this zone. And look at how that perfectly tracks. This is the past week of data that we're looking at, all magnitudes. You see some right there in the New Madrid area, East Tennessee seismic zone, and then also right there off the coast. So we get earthquake activity in these locations. It's not abnormal. And so 2 earthquakes that pop off right after this sonic boom, you know, it teaches you a little bit about the earthquakes because you look into them, but I wouldn't say that they're connected together in any significant way. We get earthquakes there, like of this magnitude, pretty much all the time actually. You know, 1 or 2, no one feels them, right? Magnitude 1.8, no one's going to feel that. So let's click this, sonic boom, another one. This event is not an earthquake. Recorded waves and eyewitness reports are consistent with the sonic boom. We have some footage of this one, by the way. We'll go to my X account and look at one video. It shows this warehouse being like the roll-up doors of the warehouse being like blasted. We don't have any eyewitness accounts for this yet, okay? Really crazy. This is the real odd one. The other one, probably space rock. This one, I don't know. Go to our interactive map here. We'll look at our do you feel it responses like last time. Here's our 10 kilometer. Look, even people over here in Missouri, I'm not sure how legit this is. Alabama, maybe. We had some people comment on that live stream that they picked it up in pretty far-flung places. And also, just to point out, a good amount of comments came in, people saying, I felt the sonic boom in Texas 2 days before. I felt the sonic boom in Arkansas a week before. I felt the sonic boom in Idaho. Like, there's some, that's why I'm not sure it's just a space rock thing. Because that would really mean we're like in a dense debris stream. And we would be getting a lot of eyewitness reports for these. As we did in March, and we're not. So if these other anecdotal reports are to be believed, and it could have just been a large 18-wheeler rolling by or something, you know, the real proof of the pudding is when there's 1,500 people reporting something simultaneously. But I also don't immediately discount other anecdotal reports that roll in. Just keep that in mind. Because maybe it was smaller, more localized, we don't know. It's just there are, and we looked into the Seneca booms, I think they're called. These sort of mysterious sonic booms have been heard before. There's a rich history of them, and we don't really know what it is. So this could be some sort of, maybe this plasma explanation fits in. But we see these responses over a wide area. So this isn't fighter jets going supersonic because that's confined to a pretty narrow cone underneath them. This is over a very wide zone. This was a big event. We don't know what caused this. If we go back to our did you feel it? Let's look at our responses now that it's been a few days. Let's see where it topped out. So we see here 1,600. It looks like it went to about 1,700 responses. You see that right over my shoulder here. 1,695 responses. So this one has been, people reported this one to USGS at a much higher frequency than what's happened with Boston. And Boston right now is about 7-8 hours after the event. Look at how we went up straight to 1,600 responses at about 7 hours with Boston, whereas that's not the case with South Carolina, 1,600 in 7 hours, whereas for Boston, if we go back, did you feel it? Responses versus time. We're at 7 hours right now, and it's at 362 right here, okay? So there are differences between them. The factor that keeps them similar is that it was a sonic boom and that they were closely linked together in time, just being a few days apart. But the South Carolina one, again, still has no explanation. Now, this is our fireball report, again, from the American Meteor Society. 49 reports thus far. We see all of them here. No video, okay? So typically, if there's something, this legend there will show videos or photos that people submit. Nothing submitted yet. Doesn't mean it won't be submitted soon, but we don't have anything submitted. So now there are people that saw it though. They didn't necessarily get it on video, but they saw it. So here, that adds more support to the bolide impact hypothesis, which I think is what occurred. That's where I would put my chips on this one. Doesn't mean it's the case, but I would put my chips there. Because we see someone saw something for 3.5 seconds, they saw it for 1.5 seconds, 7.5 seconds. Like, these are eyewitness reports of this. They just didn't get it on camera. There was a lot of cloud cover at the time. We can see that here by going to our satellite map. And this is our location of interest right here, right? If I go back to roughly the time that this was at, which was, again, it was 1805 Universal Time. So that's right there, 1811, right? Look at all the cloud cover that's over that area. So if it did explode 40 miles up, it makes sense that people wouldn't see it because of all the strong cloud cover, okay? But let's go back to our American Meteor Society. I'll just click back on this. We get to our main event page. Reports come in from all over the world. Here we even have a report from Nigeria, okay? Now there's another website called NASA Skyfall, and they keep a database for events over the United States that have more than 100 reports. So none of these have reached the NASA Skyfall page. But we see this most recent one right here. This is our one in question. You see 1807 Universal Time. USGS has an 1805, and that satellite blip that we saw right here, if we go back to this, shows it coming in at 1811. 1811 right there. So, you know, it's all kind of converging together, all right? But we go back, well, the one for South Carolina was at 5:24 p.m. on the 28th of May. But Universal Time is 21:24 Universal on the 8th of May, 28th of May. Here's the 28th, there's the 28th. Well, this one's for Europe, that's not us, okay? This is the 29th, that's not it, that's Louisiana and Texas. This is Connecticut, New Jersey, New York at 01:52 Universal Time. This is actually the 28th for these states local time. The 27th local time for them. It's not that. It's not them. We don't have an AMS report event page for the sonic boom over South Carolina. That was felt again over a huge area. No video of something exploding or vapor trail. Nothing. So let's go to. Hopefully this video is still up. The one that I reposted on. Here it is. This is pretty crazy. So check out this pressure wave that hits. All right. Oh. So this is big. This is an airplane hangar, and you'll see it again at the beginning, a few seconds in, just from now. Big rattle. And a flash of light too, it seems. I mean, I'm not sure if that's like affecting the infrared sensor or something. Either way, pretty significant. And we also have this footage and audio of the sonic boom here. You won't be able to hear the audio because of the live stream platform I'm using, but there were multiple videos that were posted online for this. You know, this one really gives you the audio. You hear this boom when you listen to this. So if you want to check this out, you can go to my X page at Stefan Burns. Geo, that's a great place for staying up to date on things like this. Just try not to get lost in the sauce. All these social media platforms are trying to pull you in. So, a lot of uncertainty as to what is actually happening, basically. What is actually happening with the sonic boom? I don't know. Let's go type in Boston sonic boom and see if we get any good video. There's me at the top. Cool. It's probably because it's my account searching it. Another video of the explosion in the Boston area really captures how loud the boom was. Okay. Yeah, this is also a flash density product from these geostationary satellites. This is that flash that we were looking at. You see that shows up just for a single clip. It's not a long duration, indicating that it was a temporary, fireball coming in, only lasting a few seconds before it burns up. They're very, very fast. Now, here is a pretty good video. Let's read this community notes. Okay, I'm not sure why they put even notes there saying the event is real. So this is showing a 3-foot wide meteor entering the atmosphere near Massachusetts and New Hampshire border, causing a loud boom over Boston. If this is the case, that is the best video that we have. It's surprising that it's not cloudy. It should be cloudy. That area, at least with what we saw, was pretty cloudy. This is looking like pretty clear skies. So maybe this specific location was good. But NASA also said it exploded 40 miles up. So this must be looking at some weird angle, because that doesn't look 40 miles up, folks. At least, I mean, again, this is the perspective. Maybe it's going, I don't know. It's just, there's too many inconsistencies in general with what's happening for me to just immediately accept the explanation of, oh, we figured it out. This is 100% what it is. People were even saying that for this event here in South Carolina. A lot of people came out saying, definitely a meteor, a bolide. That's what caused the sonic boom. Probably, but we don't have any direct evidence. We have 0 eyewitness accounts. People felt it, they didn't see it. We have nothing on the event page for American Meteor Society, all the different things. We talked about it. Don't need to repeat it. We don't have any evidence of that being an impact. Probably, because that makes the most sense. And we've seen this happen before. But I think it's worthwhile to consider other options. And as we continue to energize our planet, the atmosphere gets crazier and crazier, loaded up with energy. You could either maybe have like sudden plasma discharges that could generate this sort of effect. This is a hypothesis, okay? It's not, I'm not telling you this is what it is. This is a hypothesis, which needs data to really prove it up to make it a theory. But we know that space environment interacts with us, plasma, all this stuff and more. Space weather, we track this on the channel. Another thing I was also considering is think about how like a rogue wave is generated, okay? In the ocean, right? So many people have seen rogue waves. Some of them have slammed into beaches before. They've hit ships at sea, right? They've been witnessed and observed. It's called constructive interference. So if you have 3 waves, let's say, and they're both 10 feet tall, and somehow they come together precisely at the right moment, they will swell up and go up. Now you have this rogue wave that's 20 feet, 30 feet tall. And so I imagine similar dynamics exist in the atmosphere, because the ocean and atmosphere are very, very similar, at least as it relates to fluid dynamics. Atmosphere is a lot less dense, of course, but they both have fluid dynamics to them. So if you had certain waves in the atmosphere that had a good amount of strength to them, but on their own they weren't necessarily notable, and then they did happen to perfectly converge together in such a way to explosively release their energy and create a sonic boom, that could also explain it. And that could explain some of these other mysterious sightings, hearings, feelings, whatever you want to call them, that have occurred over the decades. So I think I think that's a very sound hypothesis that probably would help explain, if not this event, and maybe that is the cause, maybe it's not. If not this one, other ones. Where just like you get rogue waves in the ocean, you get these rogue sonic booms that exist in the atmosphere, and it's really a question of it going. Now, someone here is saying, if you go back to the Ring doorbell clip, you can see a trail forming in the sky just before the boom. Yeah, so I have an issue with that. Let's go back to that. That definitely looks like an airplane contrail because a meteor trail is very, very fast. So I think it's, and you said it's specifically, look at the right side gutter. Yeah, So you'll see this airplane contrail. You know, this airplane's flying over. You see this contrail that appears. Did I click play on this? Yeah, it's going. Yeah, so there's the airplane contrail. I mean, maybe it's the meteor. Maybe, I mean, let's see how fast that is. Let's go back. Because that's pretty slow for a meteor, by the way. That's very, very slow. I'm not going to say it's not it. I don't know. There's so much uncertainty. That could be an airplane flying overhead, and just the perspective and everything, just a coincidence. There's so many airplanes that fly over the United States, most parts of the world now. Maybe. I'm like 50-50 on that. I'm glad you mentioned that though, because I saw that. I, looked at that, and it's good to see that again. So make up your own mind, do your own research, but to me, it doesn't look like a meteor trail. It looks too slow. I mean, it should be much faster if it's a meteor trail, but the distance away depends, that affects things and more. So yeah, crazy things happening right now, as you can tell. One more thing I'll point out here is spaceweather.com. This is a good website to go if you want to stay up to date with what's happening, pretty simple stuff. Sometimes they do some good pieces going in depth on space weather and things. There is a NASA all-sky camera network. They reported 4 fireballs on the 28th. Here are the orbits of them. If you look at near-Earth asteroids, we had a whole bunch of near-Earth asteroids earlier this month that were passing very close to the planet but not impacting. That seems to have cooled off. And we don't see anything on this list that would have been a candidate for these impacts, okay? This right there, 2026 KT2, having a close flyby of 2 lunar distances on the 28th of May. That means it was as close to Earth as the moon, separated twice, so 1, 2. Now there's variation in the lunar orbit, but just in general, 2 lunar distances. This was 64 meters across. We're glad that did not hit. That would have been a Tunguska, okay? That could have leveled out a city. So we're glad that that did not hit. But we don't see, a whole bunch of near-Earth flybys during this time frame. If you go back to earlier in May, we had them. We had a whole bunch, like starting around May 7th, going through about May 15th. Tons and tons and tons of these close flybys, getting to 0.2 lunar distances, 0.1 lunar distances, 0.5, 0.4, 0.7. Anything under 1 lunar distance is a close flyby. And we don't see anything significant coming up that's been identified, right? They discover a lot of these as they're doing the flyby and or right afterwards. So this is not a complete snapshot of what actually exists in space in our immediate environment for the next week or so. But we do have some database of objects, and this is plotting and showing the database that we do know of what's coming in. We can go back. I think we did that search for the Boston thing. Yeah, let's go back and check out maybe some other stuff here. And we'll do a Q&A, or just if you have something to share, please share that in the comments below. And if you really want to get that on screen, then add that to a super thanks. And then I can pull that up very easily because the comments are flying on this video right now. So super thanks is the way to go if you have a question you want asked or you have a comment to share. And I can put that up on the screen very easily. But people talking about the flash map here, and this is some video of the boom, definitely not an earthquake. There we see a bit of a flash right there. It's interesting. Remember, this is at 2 p.m. So it's daylight out. And, oh, I can actually show you something. This is interesting. Let me pull this up for you. We have some Raspberry Pi shake data for the South Carolina event, and I didn't get this until after it occurred. So I didn't show this on the live stream I did for that, but let me pull this up. This is good to see because here we have the New Glenn rocket explosion that occurred a few hours after the South Carolina boom, the sonic boom, okay? This is the New Glenn rocket, exploded, destroyed this landing pad at the Space Launch Center. $1 billion of damage is the estimate. That's what I hear. Props to Spaceflight Now for recording this and sharing this online. So yeah, huge explosion. I showed that on yesterday's video. Going back to this, here we see the Raspberry Shake data for the New Glenn rocket explosion. That was equivalent to like atomic bombs. Like it was really getting up there in terms of the amount of energy that was released from that explosion. It was one of the largest ever accidental explosions in recorded history. So what happened with the New Glenn rocket on the 28th was a big deal. And just a few hours before, we had this mysterious sonic boom in South Carolina. Very, very weird. Okay. Here we see the Raspberry Shake data. And really I want you to focus on the spectrogram and just kind of the color scaling for this, all right? So this is our spectrogram. We see that the primary frequency of this is right around the Schumann frequencies, interestingly enough. These are Earth's naturally resonant energy wavelengths, but it's usually light energy, not sound energy. So photons, not phonons. These are phonons. But if we compare this to South Carolina, watch the difference. This is New Glenn, one of the biggest accidental explosions ever. Here we have the Raspberry Shake data for the sonic boom over South Carolina. Quite a bit bigger, right? And the explosion from Florida was heard across the state, heard and seen. So it had a pretty wide radius, but it didn't go beyond Florida. There were no sightings of that, as far as I know, outside the state of Florida. Whereas people felt this across many, many states, over a huge area. And then we see this Raspberry Shake data also further confirming that this was a big event. So this is the real mystery. No eyewitness reports from the American Meteor Society, nothing from NASA, USGS saying it's not an earthquake, only a boom and explosion being heard. You know, a true, mysterious boom shakalaka. No idea what it is. So yeah, very, very odd. This Raspberry Shake data also indicating that lasted for some time here, okay? Kind of weird, because we see our time scale here, right? So this is 20, I gotta zoom in to see this. 21, 23, 40 universal time. So each one of these is 5 seconds, okay? So we see that this reverberation lasted for 20, 30, 40 seconds, right? It like had this ability to continue shaking and resonating. It's a big event. I don't know what it is. I definitely, though, think that we should very much consider the idea, or ideas, I should say, of mass plasma discharges in the atmosphere that just happen randomly and suddenly due to accumulation of energy. I think that's possible. I think a better hypothesis even would be like this rogue wave idea, which is interesting. So this ability for the sudden rogue waves of atmospheric energy to converge together and then release explosively. So the atmosphere is really the key here. Now, if we see a third sonic boom come in over the next few days, I would not be surprised. Then I really think we're being given a sign from God to look into this more. Because that's my general philosophy, okay? I don't necessarily think that means it's a sign from God that the end is coming. But my general philosophy is that if you see something once interesting, right? Hopefully it's not something bad. But if it's like this, nothing really bad happened, but it's definitely interesting and mysterious. Something happens twice, okay, you have my attention, but I'm not immediately going to go all in and say this is like things are going nuts and it's the end or whatever, or that they're connected together. Sometimes you do just get 1, 2 events. But if you start to get 3, 4, 6, 10, like what we had in March, we had one fireball. Then we had a second one that was notable. Then we had the third one. I was reporting on it right from the beginning. But once we started to get a wave of them, it was very clear. And at the beginning, the very first one that hit in Europe on the 8th of March, you know, I went out and said, hey, you know, I think we have like a wave coming in, because that was intuition speaking. So it's too early to say, but intuition, I just made a little mention of it. Then we had the second and third come in quite quickly afterwards. And then I was very confident in saying, okay, we have like a wave coming in. That wave lasted all the way into mid-April. So a lot of people at the beginning were like, oh, you're just trying to freak people out, whatever. But they kept coming in. So you have to pay attention. And when you get one event, it's interesting. 2 events, okay, I'm paying attention. 3 events, there's probably something happening here. That's the point I'm making. So if we start to see more of these over the next few days, then we really got to like closely pay attention and do our best to really figure out what the case is, because millions of people live here, all right? And I don't know about you. I'm sure there's some people here that I don't like, but in general, I think that people are good and we should, hope for the best. So when things are going wild and people want answers because they have a lot of questions because their house is shaking randomly from a mysterious sonic boom of no known origin, yeah, we have a responsibility. So I take that upon myself to research into these things, present on them as soon as I can. I'm live streaming for you right now. As soon as I found out about this, I was out and about today. As soon as I found out, jumped on a live stream for you to report on this sonic boom. So let's just go through the questions I have in the super thanks. Some of them may be relevant, some of them may not, but we'll quickly go through them. Thanks to everyone who dropped a super thanks. If you have a question that you want answered, attach it to a super thanks or a comment, I'll read it. Heard the Boston boom this afternoon. It's storming here and just thought it was a random thunder strike. Yeah, so again, we already know that you can get thunder from the atmosphere. It's not, and we can get super bolts. I talked about that last time, actually. I mentioned super bolts last time. Let me pull up a graphic that I have on super bolts. This would be good to review very quick, because last time I didn't pull up this relevant graphic, and afterwards I was like, I should have pulled it up for you guys. So here it is. That's not it. That's a different type of explosion. So here is a super bolt that was observed in 2020, April 29th, actually over the United States, and 477 miles across. These super bolts can be huge, all right? And they have strength. They can have strength that's well beyond and above a normal lightning strike. So not just 10 times stronger or even 100 times stronger. They can be 1,000 times stronger. This is greater than 10 to the 6 joules. They're much brighter than lightning strikes, right? You know, that warehouse video that we saw, the shake, had a big flash of light. Could have been a super bolt, but we didn't pick it up on our weather app. And that picks up stuff that's, a little bit more continuous. So it could have evaded detection. They can stretch out across hundreds of kilometers and can take 5+ seconds to fully discharge. And again, that Raspberry Shake data, pretty long in duration. So the most energetic maximum phase of solar cycle 24 occurred from 2012 to 2015. And we see our solar radial flux right here. This is a measure of solar activity. So we're seeing solar cycle 24 maximum. This in general was a weak solar cycle, mind you. So this was not a strong solar cycle. This is a weak solar cycle. Look at how we get this massive increase in the frequency of super bolts during solar maximum, and they continued as solar maximum decayed. Now, solar cycle 25 has been stronger than solar cycle 24, and we're right now at the end of solar maximum, the beginning of the descending phase. So if this data is to hold true, in general, the trend between solar activity and superbolt frequency, which is very clear here, because solar activity influences the ionosphere, which is the electrically charged part of the upper atmosphere where all the plasma is, 1% plasma. It can go beyond that during space weather events, alters atmospheric properties in the troposphere, stratosphere. There's top-down influence from the sun and space weather into the Earth geophysical system, going all the way down into the crust and beyond. If we saw this for a weak solar maximum, solar cycle 24, imagine how many super bolts we've been getting in solar cycle 25. I'm sure that research will come out eventually, but it's not out yet because we're in the middle of it right now. So it could have been a super bolt. Could have been a super bolt. We really wouldn't know. And 5:30 West Coast, thank you so much for the super thanks. We already covered you, Andrew. Thank you for that. Sleep Happy 23. We had a sonic boom over eastern Canada last week as well. Look it up. Shook my house. We can do a quick search. I'm not sure it's going to show up because if you don't get a bunch of sightings, I don't know its ability to enter into the news. So eastern Canada sonic boom. Let's see what we get. And maybe we read this article here, but I'm not really seeing anything for what you're saying. Yeah, we have some stuff back in March, so I'm not doubting you, but I'm just, you know, if we don't get a deluge of sightings, then it's hard to confirm these sort of events, which is unfortunate. So yeah, it's great that people are reporting these, and I recommend you put a report in with the USGS. If you see something in the American Meteor Society, as soon as we can. The more data we have, the more better able we are to figure out basically what's happening. And 25 lighters, thank you for the super thanks. My heart said super deep fissures. Maybe you're talking about the sonic booms, not exactly sure, but thank you for your support. And Charles McCavier, appreciate the best tea I've had ever. If you don't know, I have a website where we sell holistic wellness products. This is earthevolution.com. I'll just quickly show you this. We make and mix our own all organic herbal tea blends, coffee, there's channel merchandise, there's a whole bunch of cool things here, okay? So basically Charles is, just saying, hey, I love your tea products, the tranquility, vitality, top quality and taste. Excellent. Thank you so much. Check out Luke 21:11. Okay. Bobby T-Bird, because your body is acting as a highly optimized dielectric conduit, you will feel and measure the difference immediately on your sensors. Maybe he's referencing how people are feeling these events. I'm not exactly sure, but thank you for your super thanks and your commentary. Maybe it's a higher dimensional craft that our eyes can't see yet. Love you. I don't know. I'm not going to say you're wrong. Who knows? Thank you for the super thanks. There's certainly things that we don't know exist in this universe, on this planet, that have been covered up in our history. That for sure is the case. Okay, so can you tell the difference between a sonic boom and earthquake on a seismogram? Sonic booms aren't always recorded on seismic instruments, but when they are, this is how we identify and confirm that the signal is a sonic boom rather than an earthquake. We see, first, if we see nothing or just a fairly short high frequency signal on our records that doesn't look like an earthquake, that's one clue. On rare occasions, we see the signal on multiple stations, and the move out or time difference matches the speed of sound in air, which is much slower than the speed of sound in rocks, seismic waves propagating, which does depend on the properties of the rock, etc. The next clue is that the felt reports come from a very wide area, typical of a big earthquake, but there is no such event on our records. Reports of a bang or boom is somewhat of a clue. Although shallow earthquakes often sound like booms or bangs, so that is not an ironclad indicator. From those points alone, we can be pretty sure that it is some sort of atmospheric source, a sonic boom, artillery fire, maybe a meteorite or bolide explosion. Artillery fire isn't generally as loud as a sonic boom. It's not observed over such a wide area. On the other hand, bolides are often reported as very bright lights in the sky along with sound and ground motion. Very small earthquake or cavity collapse, such as a rock fall in a cave, also produces very small signals on the seismograms, but they tend to look quite different, and the felt reports tend to be from a small focus area instead of a wide area. And one other thing too is this: if the military does announce that they are doing some sort of supersonic drills, or that a plane went supersonic, then that can explain a sonic boom. But again, it's over a limited area. So if it's over a big area, that's really kind of the key. Most sonic booms aren't felt on land, and most supersonic training occurs over the ocean. Atmospheric events are difficult to detect with seismographs because they usually transfer very little seismic energy into the ground. That's what I'm talking about. Atmospheric events, right? And it's not going to be just from meteor strikes. There's going to be other things too. Atmospheric conditions like temperature inversions and calm surface winds can make sound propagate farther than normal. And they just kind of go on a little bit. So yeah, some information from the USGS, whether you like them or not, they do a good job overall. There we go. Just cutting out a little bit with the video. We'll take a couple more questions from the chat. We did get a big super thanks to come in from PDM Life, saying I should watch my back. Thank you for your concern. I do everything to be safe. I think I'm fine. There are, I think, topics out there which I'm not even close to touching on, which maybe would start being a concern, but I think me covering some sonic booms is fine. I mean, I don't know. I just don't live in fear. I'm not worried. But thank you for your concern. Joseph saying here the sonic boom south of Boston. Thanks for your report. It's good to know. I heard and felt the sonic boom in Medfield, Massachusetts today. Felt like something hit the roof. The whole house shook and the door blew open. Okay. Door blew open. Yeah, that's a big deal. So indubitably sus, thank you so much for your super thanks. We're never getting off this rock. We may never get off the rock. Not everyone does. And yeah, thank you for your questions, comments, and super thanks, everybody. I felt the boom today in Ipswich, Massachusetts. Huge explosion, and then the whole house shook. So again, they said I think they said it was a 3-foot wide bolide that exploded 40 miles up with the strength of 300 tons of TNT. The whole house shook from 40 miles up? I don't know, it's kind of crazy. I mean, most likely it was a meteor strike. We have the good evidence of that, but still weird. Boom shakalaka. That is what has been happening over the past few days. Hopefully it just stays to where it has been now. Like, we don't need Tunguska events to start popping off. And why just the East Coast? Like, the world's a big place. Why, if we are in this debris stream, why aren't we hearing about these sonic booms in Africa or over small islands in the Pacific or Australia or China or Russia, or Europe? I mean, anywhere, right? Like, why has there been such a condensation, you could say, a plethora of events over the United States since March? It's been very weird. It's very weird. We have 4th of July coming up, 250-year anniversary. That's a day to watch. Yeah, lots of stuff happening. We have some more super things that have come in. Pink Squirrel, 3 hours ago, my body felt instantly inflamed. I'm in Park City, Utah. Could what you're talking about be related? Shouldn't be, because this sonic boom over Boston was 7 hours ago, and you're in Utah. So I'm not sure what that could be, but if you feel unwell, then I would recommend you go to someone who can help you, like, good doctor. Sometimes our body does interesting things. Make sure you rest, relax, maybe take a cold shower. That could help. Sorry that happened to you, but thank you for your super thanks. They're not going to be connected in time. And Nikki, longtime supporter, I think it's some sort of weapon they're testing. I'm one of those impulsive judges. Great show today. You are the best. Thank you. I don't know. The United States does not have a good track record for divulging things that they're doing, experiments that they're doing, testing, even on people. It's really not good. So I definitely I definitely do not discount that possibility. That is for sure. Though why they would do it over Boston and not in the middle of the Atlantic, I can't tell you. Homie needs to smoke a joint. Maybe. Okay. At this point, I think we are going to sign off. I'm not seeing anything really new come in. I'm not here just to talk for 4 hours. That sounds fun, but once we get the report done, the questions done, that's it. So I want to extend my thanks to all of you for joining in today. I'll keep you up to date on everything as it relates to these sonic booms. This one appears to have been from a bolide impact. This one is still a complete mystery. Anyone that's saying definitively it was from a bolide, a space rock, a meteor, whatever, they're not being honest with you, because we have, as of my sleuthing, and I've been tracking this stuff now on the forefront for you guys, making videos with tons and tons of views since this really started in March, okay? I have people sending me videos all the time now and things, like it's a little wild, okay? I have all the data links and portals to go to. I've seen nothing on this one indicating that it was a space rock, definitively. It probably was, but just keep in mind that some people like to jump the gun. They like to sound like they know everything, so it's like, that's what it was, and I can be the big answer guy. It's not about that. So we're interested in the truth here. If we start to see more of these occur, then we really have a bigger conversation here. But I want to jump on this live for you as soon as I found out. 2 in a row is very bizarre. This one, again, likely from bolide impact. This one unknown. But there's weird things happening, undoubtedly. Doesn't matter how you look at, how you slice it. There are weird things happening, especially in our space environment, going back till March when we had this anomalous surge of activity with fireballs, the biggest and brightest of these meteorites. So I'll keep you up to date on all that and much more. Subscribe to the channel, smash that thumbs up button to help the channel grow. Thank you all so much. Have a great day. Please don't be freaked out about this. I mean, it's worthy to be aware, right? But don't spend the next week freaked out about this. If it's time to freak out, guaranteed, if it's time to freak out, I will let you know, okay? I don't want to freak anybody out. But if it's actually time to freak out, I will let you know. It's not time to freak out yet. Everything is still operationally okay. With that, I wish you the best. Love and light. See you all very, very soon.